Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Duku200 here, back for another TSN reviews. And now, the footage you're seeing here, it was already pre-recorded. The audio I had was messing up because of my render distance being too high and the game lagging tremendously. But this is the RMS Olympic 1908 Design D by Alexius, and I think this looks fantastic. I am really excited to kind of take a look at this. As you can see, the footage is very glitchy. My apologies for this. It's just what we're going to have to deal with. As soon as I turn my render distance down, when we get to the actual tour part of this video, it will get much better, in my opinion. I promise you guys. But there are people he wanted me to shout out, Alexius. He wanted me to shout out some people who helped with the ship, with the posting, and etc. He wanted me to shout out Flexing Guys. He did the renders on the PMC post, link in the description by the way. He wanted me to shout out Casey, who helped with the hull shape and just different parts of the ship in general. Chrissy2006, Chris, if you're watching this, I love you, man. He helped with boiler rooms and just other stuff around the ship. And as well, Matthew DeWinkler, who helped with getting the plans for Design D here. And I think I'm mentioning right now, Design D is a crazy version of the Olympic class. This is the original version, and I think I'm talking right now about the masts. How there's only one, as you can obviously see. The reason for this is because the Marconi wireless only required one to be strung between the first mast and the first funnels to the second funnel, you know, to the wireless. And basically, they added the second mast, one, to make it look more balanced, and two, for the wireless to reach farther. But theoretically, it works just fine with one mast and the aerials being the way they are. The reason they changed it, obvious reasons, they just wanted the reach of the signal to just be bigger. The reach of the signal with this design, it wouldn't reach that far. It's kind of crazy to think, during the sinking of the Titanic, if the aerials were like this, it would probably have been pretty tragic. But, yeah. There's not much else I can talk about other than, like, the lifeboats I think I mentioned at this point, which, as you can see, the lifeboats have been pushed far back on the deck, which I think is funny because it kind of obstructs a first-class viewing of the ocean while giving the officers much more space to see the water and everything, which I think is funny. And they would eventually split that difference and make it so the officers got the lifeboats. But the second class back here, they actually get more room with this configuration. On the B deck, C deck, as well as the boat deck, there's a lifeboat that got removed, basically. Oh, I'm loading the chunks. Okay, we're going back to normal. Bye, guys! There we go. Okay. We're gonna head up here to the bridge and just kind of talk about the changes and everything like that. Kind of just going through what they changed, what they kept on the different versions. Because again, this is 1908. This is the first draft that was submitted to the White Star Line chair board, basically. As you can see, the whole forecastle is basically the same. We are missing the bow anchor crystal. Down here, the forecastle is basically exactly the same as it would end up as. Like the two cargo holds here, which actually, the one difference I just noticed is the forward one here is slightly thinner than the back one, which is not the case later on. They would be the same width part. That's interesting. I didn't actually notice that. That's an observation I just now made. Cool. Anyway, so the bridge, it's curved. So yeah, a lot of White Star liners back in the old days actually had curved bridges, and so originally Olympic was going to look very traditional, as can be seen. It's meant to look more like the Big Four and like Oceanic 2, and so curved bridge. That's what they all had, so why not have one here? The inner bridge here looks basically the exact same as you'd expect, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with that. Same with the wheelhouse. Everything back here is very similar to where it would be later on. Yeah, here's the navigation room. Yeah, navigation room. Someone just texted. Ah, poor you. I'm not responding back just yet. So yeah, basically, all the crew cabins back here are basically roughly in the correct spot of where they would eventually end up. But after the expansion joint right here, it gets a little wonky. What's this over here? I actually don't know what this is. So this is the smoking room for officers, which is completely in the opposite spot of where it should be. Final version would have it on that side. Actually, no. Olympic had it in the middle, I believe. Yeah. Of course, these are here. We got the Marconi room right on this side, which again is on the wrong side to what it would eventually end up as. I did not realize there was a skylight here. That's cool. Of course, we got the what on earth? Silent room. Woohoo! That's glitching out. I don't like that. Anyway, going through here. Oh, actually, no, not going through there. We're gonna go around because we're gonna continue on the boat deck tour and then come back to first class because I think that's the best bet. Please tell me the whole grand staircase isn't wiggling. That'd be terrifying. So, of course, we got the raised roof here in the lounge, and if you're thinking something's missing, you're correct. The gym is no longer on the boat deck up here. So, of course, the final version, there would be the gym that would extend all the way to right about here. It's gone. It didn't exist up here on the boat deck anyway. It actually is now on F deck, way down below. That's where it was originally planned for, but they realized it's not bright enough. They don't have enough room. It's too dark, too damp. They moved it up here because it gives more light and air. Going back here, we're missing the cloak room, which would eventually be put there, as well as the engineer's mess, I believe, is moved to back here. Why is that? Why was it moved? I'm not sure. Actually, I do know this. I do know this, actually. So, they put the dome right here for the aft grand staircase. That's what it was. That's what they did. I remember this now. So yeah, officer's mess was moved there by the third funnel, and etc., etc. We got the tank room here, and another tank room on the other side. So we're also missing the engineer's smoking room. I have no idea where they eventually put that, but it's not up here. But yeah. Kind of cool, kind of fancy. There also no longer is a staircase that goes down. I think that would eventually, yeah, that would take up this whole spot right here. Yeah, anyway. Going back, the fourth funnel basically is the exact same design you'd expect it to be, except for this. The spiral staircase is in a different spot than what it eventually ends up at. So right here, it's over at the very back of the funnel, but it would eventually end up right about where this door is, or just roughly where this ventilation unit is. So yeah, that's pretty nifty. Back here on the second class tech house, it's a little bit different. We are missing the two big vents on the back, as well as the elevator gear is now tossed here on the side. Quite different, quite different. And of course, A deck's also very changed, and C deck is also, roughly changed, I guess. You can kind of see where they would eventually kind of extend it and move around what's already existing here. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and head back onto the grand staircase, and hopefully it's not glitched out on us. Okay, so we're not going to do things are glowing that weren't meant to glow. Woo, woo. But yeah, so we're just going to stick around here and just keep going with the tour. So as you can see, is much different than what it would eventually turn out as, and that is because originally they wanted to keep it more similar to what they've already done. So Harland and Wolf and White Star, they built quite a few ships before, you know, the Olympic and everything, the Big Four, Oceanic 2, the first Oceanic class, the Teutonic, Majestic, all those. They had very, not simple staircases, but more conventional, which is this switchback style. But yeah, let's go ahead and head down to A deck, and we'll just kind of work our way from there. So on A deck, I'm going to check out one first class cabin, and then we're calling it a day, because I'm not looking at any more. And here, we've got very basic kind of cabin layout. This is what eventually most of the cabins in first class would look like in the future as well. Very, very plain. This is almost like copy for word, block for block, what an A deck cabin would turn out as. But heading back this way, we do have the writing room and lounge. Oh, before I go this way though, the promenade's over here. With this beautiful promenade, which is it's very much like how it would eventually look as well. I do have to laugh at those doors though. They remind me a lot of the 2000 Britannic film, because for some reason that's the one thing they somehow got weirdly correct, I guess. For Design D, yeah, they used those style doors in the Promenade set, which I think is absolutely hilarious, because that's not what they're supposed to look like. But anyway, it's kind of cool. Every time I see them, I kind of giggle. Here's the reading and writing room. Now, I actually designed this room, and it's here. It's a room. That's all I can really say about it, is just it's here. These are... Okay, this is white terracotta. For some reason, the texture pack I'm using, which is basically just default, the world's just kind of glitching out. This is what happens when you open a world in one version, then go back one, and then back forward. It's a mess. I'm so sorry. Anybody who's watching this and is like confused why there's just magenta, that's the reason. But yeah, this room is very gaudy. It's very much based off of the RMS Adriatics reading and writing room. And frankly, I don't like it. I kind of prefer the design they'd eventually go with, which I think is an Adams style. But I also don't know styling, so that's completely just on my head. But here we have the lounge, which I think looks fantastic. I absolutely love this original lounge concept. This looks beautiful. And as you can see, there's a giant skylight here, which I think personally just makes the room more grandiose, more open, more spacious, really. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the faux Art Nouveau dome that like we would eventually get with the chandelier. It's nice, the one we would eventually get in the final, 1911 version of Olympic, but I think this would just been more, this just would have been better, in my opinion, because it just makes the room feel bigger, and, yeah, more conventional. But anyway, oh well. Over here we have another door outside, as well as a weird pantry. I think this is the deck pantry more than anything else, because the weird thing is there's another pantry right here. And so I think they eventually mixed the two together, but yeah, it's kind of weird they have two. Anyway, heading back, we have the aft grand staircase, which looks just like the forward one. It's another switchback that goes down, to C deck as you'd expect it to. So we're not gonna spend too much on that. Right here, though, this is the smoking room, which I think looks pretty good. It's very much based off the Big Four once again, and that's really all I can say about it. That's what it's based off of, y'all. In case you weren't aware. Heading back here, we have the Veranda Cafe and Palm Court, which I think this is as good as you're probably gonna get. This is basically exactly what it looks like later on down the line, and I think that's good. Heading down here, though, going to B deck now, we actually have the second class entrance. I went to the wrong door. Here we go. So, as you can see, the staircase is basically the same as you'd expect all A decks to really look like. A decks? This is B deck. What am I on about? But you do have the inquiry office over here, or sorry, the purser's office, which is quite different because, in the later version it's on E deck, as well as the barbershop, which also got moved to E deck later on. But I actually love that they put both of those up here. It makes more sense logistically to have them up here, but that's just me, that's my opinion. Here's the smoking room. As you can see, it's in the wrong spot, but actually this is where it was originally intended, was where the a la carte restaurant would eventually be placed. And I think I kind of like it here, honestly. It's kind of it's a nice placement. You got a lot of nice open windows and everything like that, which kind of airs the room out a bit more than the square design we would end up with. But heading back this way, there is a door back here that actually leads to the grand staircase right here, which is an emergency door. But yeah, it ends up here, and out on the deck is the open promenade. We have the gate here to separate second and first class. But right here we have the open promenade, which, this would eventually be completely enclosed on the later versions, and the top one would be completely open. It's different, but the older White Star liners had double promenades, and so the theory or idea was that that's what they would kind of try to keep, kind of go with, but modernizing it all changed everything. So here we have a bunch of cabins. I'm not going to focus too much on them because, why is there just a gold block here? I'm not questioning it. Yeah, there are some lighting glitches just because I have an old model of the ship, pre-release basically, the exclusive if you wanna say. But yeah, basically these are just cabins. They're roughly the same styles as what would end up on the 1911 Olympic. Sorry. Here's the parlor suite though, which look at that handsome devil there. Look at this man. Look at him. Look at him. What a hottie. This is my stateroom that I built both parlor suites on this ship, the starboard and the port, of course, and I really like it. I love that I was able to put myself in this room as a little gag gift. Of course, we have the Louis style bedroom, and then in the bedroom, oh god, I should know this. Bedroom A, I think. Second bedroom looks really good. Heading to the other side, we do have the Adams setting room as well, which, you know, it's not an Olympic class unless you have both of these kind of just situated here. And then we have the Italian Renaissance style cabin right here, as well as, you know, another bedroom A. But heading down, we will actually be getting C-Deck. Now, there's a thing with C-Deck that I'll come back to, because there's an issue with C-Deck that would later arise and cause a little bit of an issue with one of the big public rooms coming up. But here we do have the Purser's office and the Inquiry office, which, if you know the Titanic or the Olympic in general, you know both of these would eventually get merged into one and be shoved in that corner. Now, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I do kind of like that it's two separate entities right here, two giant booths almost, but also I do think condensing it in the corner there was the best move, because it just kind of, it split the lines up, really, of traffic jams from being both sides to just the corner. And now that is an issue, you know, if you have a stateroom right here, but as a whole, you can go around it. But having it right here, you can't really maneuver around two separate lines. It's, yeah. Anyway, I kind of like what they did here. Anyway, let's continue on. Oh, before I do, these cabins, the C-Deck cabins, just to kind of show them off. Yep, we got these kind of larger, fancier rooms here. Hold on, there's a better one right here. So you can see it's kind of a larger kind of stateroom style. It does have the 3 beds, which is not the most needed, but oh well. One of the beds probably should have been a couch, but I didn't do the cabins, so oh well. Going down, we do have the reception room, which, if you know this room, you know it's a little bit swapped here and there. So the doors there would actually end up over the corner. The whole room would kind of get more separated and split up, and this is called the foyer, I think, or the I think it's like the foyer / lounge, but it would eventually be turned into the reception room for the dining saloon. It's different. I do like this design though. I do think having the staircase here fan out, this I think is what set them on the mindset of the grand staircase design, was doing this to it. I think they saw this and was like, that's a great idea. Anyway, right here we have Alexius himself, and he has a book here called Farewell, which I will eventually maybe read it. I might not also, because I kind of want y'all to read it versus me reading it. Anyway, going here into the dining saloon, it's a very typical, you know, normal dining saloon that you'd see on an Olympic class ocean liner, except for one major important thing that would eventually get completely scrapped from the ship in entirety. This dome! Oh, the colors, the white terracottas gone. Oh, that's sad. We do have the Art Nouveau chandelier from the lounge up here, which I think is actually kind of funny. But yeah, this dome was completely cut later on because of, remember those cabins I showed up here in C-Deck? Well, those cabins later on in 1911 didn't exist. They were replaced with suites. So instead of fitting up to 3-4 people in a room, they would eventually only handle 2. Maybe a third if you're getting lucky. But yeah, so cutting down those rooms, they now needed to situate and reallocate a bunch of rooms for all these extra people. And so the only option that they could really see fit to do was they had to cut the dome here and replace this with cabins. And of course on B deck they replaced it with a bathroom. But yeah, it's kind of sad that they cut this because it makes it more grandiose. It brings the room more light, more air. It's more grand. That's really it. That's it. That's all I can really say is just it makes the room more grand to look at, as well as it would have added to the issue of the room being very stuffy. But yeah, that's really all I can say is they eventually had to cut the dome, but I'm sad they did, because the dome looks fantastic, this Art Nouveau style, as well as it would have compared to what you see on the Lusitania and the Mauritania, which have beautiful double, almost triple story, because technically if you're counting the dome, it's 3 stories tall. 3-story dining rooms. Well, there you only got the single, but now on this version you have technically the triple story. So yeah, here we have the galley. Not much has changed. We will kind of just breeze through it because it's literally almost exactly the same, like block for block, more or less, till you get back here. Second class pantry. And coming to this side, we have the dining room for a second class, which looks basically how it would look in the end version as well. I think the few tables get split up a bit more, but I think as a whole, this is what it looks like. So we're just gonna keep breezing on through it. Right here is just the aft cabin area. It is kind of a maze back here, more of a maze than it would end up as. So we have just a random side staircase to go around this area. If the dining room is eventually locked, which usually during the nighttime it would be. So if you have to get on deck for some reason, it's very weird. Like, I didn't even know the staircase was here. How was I supposed to know? Now we're on F deck, I think? Yeah. But yeah, it's quite the maze up here. But yeah, we're gonna just keep going. So this is Scotland Road, and not much has been changed here. It's still roughly what you'd imagine it to be. Some of the rooms have been, shifted around, shuffled, but as a whole, it's the same area. One thing that is different, though, is this area, the third-class dining saloon. It has been moved, or not moved, but extended, more or less. So there used to be a wall that separates right here. There was a bulkhead that it would eventually go through F deck up to E, the flooring of E deck, I think. And yeah, so they would eventually split this room into 2 areas, just to kind of, one side I think is for the married couples, one's for single women, single men, etc., just to split everything up a bit more. And so yeah, having it as this giant open space, I do like it being open, but I understand why they split it, mainly to keep the different groups split up. So continuing on, there might be something you're noticing here on the doors, or sign-wise. There's not a door to the first class staircase. That's because first class is not down here on E deck. It completely skips it. And in fact, if I go this way, this has a weird staircase divide right here. It's really strange. Because, I don't know. They could. I think having it just completely open all the way through the back was the best option. But I do suppose this open space would eventually also get turned into like a dining area? Air quotes. Don't quote me on it, but air quotes. Anyway, so yeah, third class would actually get the first class section up to where the grand staircase is actually. And then behind that is the second class. So first class just doesn't exist on E deck except for their own staircase, which is right here. So the first class staircase completely skips E deck and goes all the way down to F deck right here. And you might be asking yourself, well, what's on F deck? Well, we got the gymnasium. Remember that? I mentioned this earlier. The gymnasium is here, it's just chilling, it's vibing, it's doing its own thing. Basically the same gymnasium as what you'd expect on the boat deck, we just moved on here. Going to the, we're going to this side. We also have the pool, which is very Adriatic inspired. I do kind of like this. The wall definitely separates the room. I think I might have built this room actually, because I don't know. This looks like something I would do. This this dressing table design, that's very something I would make. And so I think I might have made this room, or at least the wall here. But also, I don't know. If I did, then yeehaw. If I didn't, whoops. I just know that little dressing table is very much my design, I think. Very similar to what I would make. Anyway, yeah, I got all the dressing rooms, exactly how you'd expect them to look. And then on the other side, so eventually the Turkish bath would, be placed right here. But because of the gymnasium, the Turkish bath is actually over on this side. Which is a weird position for it, but you know what? It works. This magenta color is white terracotta, so if it looks weird, it should look like that color. But, my game hates us, so it's just going to keep doing that. But right here we have the hot room. That's pretty hot in there. And over here we have the thermo room, or the steam room. Anyway, yep, we're going to keep going. We've got the shampooing rooms right there and right there. Death traps. And then, of course, we have the cooling room. Yeah, this, again, is very Adriatic inspired. Adriatic was one of, or if not the first, ship to have a Turkish bath and, pool. It's a plunge bath, not a pool. It's really small. But this is the style that the Adriatic's Turkish bath was designed in. And so it only kind of makes sense that it would look this way on Olympic originally, before, they would eventually go with the more traditional, not Turkish, Turkish design, I guess. More dark woods and more brighter, colorful wall panels. But yeah, they would eventually get rid of the carpet entirely and replace the wood, the parquet floor. Is it parquet? Tile? I don't know what it would be. With tiles. The pool tiles specifically, I think. But yeah, that is the end of our tour, I believe. Because I covered almost all of the main public areas. But yeah, if I missed a room, whoops. If I didn't, then I don't know what you're talking about. I will go up here though, so we can end the tour. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Alexius, if you're watching this is a fantastic ship. You did a great banger job on it. I definitely would recommend anybody to go and download this. Hold on. Just to go download it, kind of just look around, look at the rooms I didn't eat or skipped over. I completely skipped over the boiler rooms and engine rooms. Sorry, Alexius, I never look at those rooms. Never, never, never. Because I don't know what I'm looking at down there. But anyway, if you guys want to go check those areas out, go for it. It's not ever look at. But yeah, I would recommend downloading it, just seeing everything, seeing what it's designed as. Very weird. It's very different. It's very swapped out. Oh, I did forget this area down here though. This looks different. Okay, so we have the smoke room on this side, which is kind of... Oh, it goes all the way across. Okay, that's actually not what I was expecting. So yeah, there's no general room, it's just the smoking room. Is the general room down here? Oh! Okay, so the general room was moved to this deck. That's weird. I don't like that change. That's very strange. I don't like that. Okay, anyway, with that, I'm going to call the tour an end right there, because that tripped me up. I don't like that. Okay, heading out here again. We're going to just zoom on out. We're going to just, I think, the one who helped with the hull. Fantastic banger job. Looks smooth, looks great. It looks exactly how it should. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to go download this from Alexius's page. He has stated that this is going to be one of his last builds that he's probably going to make because of, time and just not enough. He's just too busy. So this is probably going to be one of the last ships he will be making ever. And so just go check it out. That's all I ask. Go show him some love, some support. Go comment on this. He loves those comments that you guys leave on the Planet Minecraft pages. I do too, as well. So, if you want to go comment on my stuff, go do it. Nice things, of course. Please and thank you. But, yeah. I'm going to call this a day. again, hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you all in the next, hopefully TSN reviews. If not that, then Dukesy reviews. Bye!